Welcome everyone. Today, we will be covering a 2012 romance comedy film called All About My Wife. Jung-in is having her lunch all by herself in Nagoya, Japan, when suddenly an earthquake hits. She panics and runs outside of the restaurant, where she bumps into a Korean man who is capturing the event on his camcorder. He asks her to come with him to the safest place in Japan and takes her to a winagiri, a Japanese seismic architect. In this way, Du-Hyeon and Jung-in meet for the first time in a foreign land. Jung-in tells him that she has promised herself to speak only in Japanese as long as she is in Japan. Just when her phone vibrates in her pocket, she mistakes it for the tremors of the earthquake and quickly hides under the table. Du-Hyeon finds her cute and asks her out for lunch. After dating for a year or so, they finally get married in Korea. Fast forward to 7 years of marriage. Du-Hyeon has been driven crazy by his outspoken wife. He is embarrassed by her endless complaining and nagging. He is unable to bear this any longer. But still, he cannot ask her for a divorce. Jung-in has a problem getting along with other people with her straightforward behavior. From her perspective, Jung-in is grumpy with her husband for not speaking in her favor in front of others. At home, Du-Hyeon does not even get his privacy. One day in his office, a seismic team is required to supervise the construction at the Gangwon province. Du-Hyeon and his colleague Kwang-sik volunteer to go. Kwang-sik has recently been divorced, so he wants to have some time alone, and Du-Hyeon desperately wants to escape from his wife. Seeing Du-Hyeon's situation, Kwang-sik advises him to do everything that his wife hates so that she'll be the one to ask for divorce first. After convincing his friend, he finally gets the opportunity to go. Also, Du-Hyeon talks Jung-in into letting him go. The next day, he is ecstatic to be freed from his ever-nagging wife. While heading to Gangneung, reaching there, he goes to meet his old friend, Song, who is a writer on a radio program. She's working together with PD Choi on the midday Gangneung radio show. At night, just when he opens the front door of his house, he sees a lady's heel. Even in his wildest dream, he has not dreamt of his wife following him there. He is speechless to see Jung-in there. Then she tells him that she is not there just to visit, but to live with him there. But Du-Hyeon urges her to return back to Seoul to take care of their house in Seoul. Next, since his office is having a garden couple party, his boss asks him to bring Jung-in along, but he does not want his wife to come and create a scene at that party. So he lies, telling his boss that she is having a fever. Thinking he resolved the issue, he goes home and tells Jung-in that she does not have to go to the party. But to his disappointment, she decides to go to the party. As a last resort, he makes his wife fall and twist her ankle. His next-door neighbor, Sung-ki, is a famous Casanova, and Du-Hyeon has frequently witnessed many women fighting for him, and wherever he goes, he effortlessly makes women fall for his charm. Even with bandaging and a crutch, Jung-in attends the party. And as expected, she could not get along with the wives of Du-Hyeon's bosses and ends up causing a scene with her outspoken personality. After that, she sees her next-door neighbor on the rooftop and calls the police, thinking he is trying to commit suicide. Next, Sung-ki and Jung-in are both taken to the police station. Soon, Du-Hyeon comes to get his wife, but is really embarrassed by her behavior. When they are getting out of the station, one of the police officers tells him to keep his wife safe from Sung-ki, the Casanova. This advice sparks an idea in his brain. He approaches Sung-ki to seek his help. He asks him to seduce his wife, as he is unable to ask for a divorce. Initially, Sung-ki refuses to help, but after seeing Du-Hyeon's desperation, he agrees. Du-Hyeon then briefs about his backstory. The first task Sung-ki assigns is to get her a job, so he can meet her frequently outside the house. Getting help from Song, Du-Hyeon is able to secure a job for Jung-in at the midday Gangneung radio show. Within a short period of time, she is able to get hang of her job, and with her blunt response, her popularity also rises. After that, Du-Hyeon and Sung-ki make plans to execute the mission of making his wife fall for Sung-ki, and for this, Du-Hyeon is asked to list all the things about Jung-in. One day, when Sung-ki is throwing away his limited edition expensive cutleries, Jung-in comes to stop him and invites him for tea. He accepts her offer of tea and brings his cutleries with him. He then intentionally leaves behind the cutleries in her house. Later, she goes to his house to return his belongings. Sung-ki is seen making fruit juice as he shows off his cutlery sets and talks in French. When it was just a call from the bank, he tells her that since she is not going to fall for him, he is comfortable around her. He then tells her that she is beautiful, especially her ankles. At night, she tells her husband that she has misjudged the guy next door, as he appears to be alright. Du-Hyeon is happy to hear that his plan is progressing. Just then, he gets a text message from Sung-ki, telling him that he is going to be single in the next 2 months. While he is busy replying to the text, she can't help but look at her own ankles. One day, as it is snowing, the PD asks her out for drinks. After the program, She would love to, but since she hates waiting for people, she rejects it. At the same time, Seung-ki comes in his jeep and offers to lift her to her house. Willingly, she goes with him. Seung-ki then asks her to go for a ride since it's snowing, but she replies that it's the worst idea to go for a ride given the weather. He laughs at her bluntness and wonders why he likes her. Feeling that Seung-ki is hitting on her, she tells him that she is married. Next, he takes her to a cow farm to milk the cows, where she compliments him on his skills. Seung-ki then tells her not to look at him with such eyes that might mislead him. At that moment, Jung-in reminds him that she has a husband, but Seung-ki tells her that such things don't concern him. While teaching her how to milk the cow, he puts his hand over hers and guides her. He tells her that he does not care about the rules, ethics, and morals made by society when he likes someone. He lives by his instincts. Seung-ki also clarifies that he does not want to make her uncomfortable, as she is not falling for him. Next, Du-Hyeon and Seung-ki meet at the fishing area. Du-Hyeon tells him that Jung-in has told him everything about the day with him. He doubts that if she has any feelings towards him, she wouldn't be telling him everything. She even feels guilty about being closer to him during the milking of the cow. Ironically, Du-Hyeon is anxious that their plan might be futile, but Seung-ki ensures him not to worry. Also, he gets a little frustrated since Du-Hyeon is doubting his skills. Due to her outspoken nature, the radio program is gaining decent popularity. It can be said to be one of the best programs at the current time, and the PD is very satisfied with the rating and comments his program has been receiving. To celebrate the occasion, he declares to treat her to drinks, but she declines the offer as she has a plan for that night, and she excuses herself. Later, Seung-ki brings Jung-in to the pork shop that she has talked about one time in her show. She talked about how the shop sign has been disrespectful to the slaughtered pigs, so he has brought her to show her that the shopkeeper has changed the sign, and it is all thanks to her. Seung-ki compliments her for being able to change the world, little by little. With time, we see Jung-in and Seung-ki being close to each other. Next, we see the duo visit an abandoned amusement park. After having kimbap, she is riding on the carousel. Suddenly, he appears in front of her and looking into her eyes. He tells her that his heart beats for her. She makes him crazy, and that it does not matter if he dies if he could be with her. She is flustered listening to his words. As soon as he clarifies that it is just the translation of the French song playing in the background, she is embarrassed. Meanwhile, Du-Hyeon has also come to the amusement park to keep his eyes on them. Seung-ki sees him looking at them secretly. Then he tells Jung-in to wait for him as he goes to chase Du-Hyeon. Next, Seung-ki drags Du-Hyeon to the Ferris wheel and questions him if he was following him. Du-Hyeon tells him that his curiosity has led him to come to see how things are progressing on his end. But Seung-ki is angry at him for not trusting him completely. When he grabs Du-Hyeon's collar, reflexively, Du-Hyeon twists his arm, restricting his movement. However, Seung-ki tells him that he has almost succeeded in winning her heart. He then advises Du-Hyeon to ignore her and abstain from having sex with her. While getting off the Ferris wheel, he locks Du-Hyeon in the cabinet and returns to Jung-in. Just then, a guard comes and chases them away, and Du-Hyeon is stuck at the wheel. Du-Hyeon comes home late at night when Jung-in is working, but she is smiling to herself and seems happy. When he asks her about her day, she tells him that she was busy working and preparing for the next day's broadcast. In a jolly mood, she plays music and dances around the house. Later, she tells him that she's been remembering their days back in Japan when they were dating. Jung-in asks if she is still pretty in his eyes and tells him to kiss her. It does not end with just a kiss. The stimulus has aroused them. Just when things are about to get physical, her phone rings and she is called to the office. The next day, the radio program team invites Du-Hyeon. During lunch, the PD announces that they are going on public radio in Seoul. Jung-in asks if it is okay for her to go, to which he expresses that he has no problem with it. Then, the main writer, in her drunken state, reveals that Du-Hyeon has helped her in the past. During their walk back home, Jung-in tells him that rejecting someone is not always bad. Du-Hyeon is annoyed by her bringing out his past deeds and lecturing him about his friends. He blurts out not having the freedom to do anything as she does. Hearing this, Jung-in gets angry, hails a cab, and tells him that she is going to Seoul. That night, he meets Seung-ki and tells him that she has left for Seoul. Seung-ki tells him not to celebrate so early and that she might be back when she regrets her decision. However, Du-Hyeon tells him that there is no need for him to continue chasing her anymore. Seung-ki asks if he has a change of heart and wants his wife back. He also tells Du-Hyeon that since his reputation is at stake, he must finish his job, even if he does not get paid. Seung-ki assures him that everything will be settled within a month, and he will be freed from his wife. For the first few days after Jung-in has left, he lives happily, but after a few more days, he starts missing her presence in his life. Meanwhile, Jung-in is flourishing in her career. He wants to contact her, but his pride does not let him. After a few days, Jung-in comes to visit him in her recently bought car. As soon as he sees the car, he nags her for not consulting with him before buying it. but she brings bags full of side dishes and apologies for their fight. She realizes her shortcomings, so to be a better wife to him, she plans to work on them slowly. Then she hugs him. Right then, she gets a message. He asks her to come back home with him. Nevertheless, she plans on leaving as she has to go to work. She then kisses him goodnight and drives off. Du-Hyeon suspects the message to have come from his next-door neighbor, so he tries to contact him, but couldn't reach him. Frustrated, he grabs a bottle of liquor and finds a stack of notes attached to the bottle's neck. In the notes, Jung-in has written her desire to try once more to conceive a child and fill the house with happiness. He cannot help himself to drive to Seoul, where his wife is. On the other hand, she meets Sung-ki that night. He's brought a collection of articles that can be used for a program. Soon they talk about their life struggle over drinks, and at the end, Sung-ki drops her home, just outside their house. From the distance, Du-Hyeon sees them flirting. Suddenly, Sung-ki hugs her and bids her goodbye. A while later, Du-Hyeon accelerates his car towards Sung-ki, but could not bring himself to hit him. Du-Hyeon tells him that he does not want to lose his wife, so he wants Sung-ki to forget about the favor he had asked him. He apologizes and asks for his understanding. However, Sung-ki admits that he has also fallen for Jung-in. He tells Du-Hyeon that he can't let her go now that he has finally found his true love. He even threatens to tell her that he has been hired to seduce her. In the middle of the night, the two men are seen fighting for a woman. A while later, Du-Hyeon reaches home to his wife. Just then, an earthquake tremor is felt, and he is called to the office for an emergency meeting. One day for the reporting, the morning ambush team has come to a lavish penthouse that turns out to be Sung-ki's. He tells her that after losing his first love, he no longer believed in love, so he just wanted to wreck women's hearts. But one day, a woman came into his life who taught him the true meaning of love, and now he can't lose her. Next, Song calls Du-Hyeon to inform him that the team led Sung-ki from Gangwang is filthy rich and is to be featured in their program. He then hurries back home to Seoul. There, Jung-in tells him that she wants to go back to Gangwang. He asks if she's behaving all moody because of that Casanova. In the heat of the moment, Du-Hyeon reveals that he has asked him to seduce her, so everything Sung-ki has said to her is a lie. She is baffled to find out about this secret and is totally disappointed in her husband. She then admits to being shaken a bit by Sung-ki for listening to her and caring for her. Suddenly, an earthquake hits Seoul, and the next day, Jung-in broadcasts her last show, which is dedicated to the cowards who cannot speak their minds. In reality, she is just roasting her husband for hiring another man to seduce her. And lastly, she announces getting a divorce. To clear her mind, she goes to a beach where she sees Sung-ki going to the ocean. Seeing him, she goes to save him. Later, they are both brought to the police station, where Du-Hyeon has been waiting for her, but she has no intention to listen to him plead. Later, we see Jung-in in the Seoul house for the last night before she moves to her own place. A month later, Du-Hyeon and Jung-in meet to go to the family court. Since the court is having a break, they go to have lunch as well. When she criticizes him in the restaurant, Du-Hyeon breaks down into tears as he has missed it so much. At that moment, she has a deja vu of that day in Japan when she met Du-Hyeon for the first time during an earthquake. She reflexively hides under the table. Then, he once again asks her out in the same way when he first asked her out for lunch. After that, they never return back to court, and the movie ends.